October 4th, 2021, a little before noon, Eastern Time, an engineer at Facebook runs a command. It's a maintenance command, routine, the kind of thing that gets run all the time. Its job is to check how much capacity is available on Facebook's global backbone, the private network that connects their data centers to each other. The command is meant to ask a question. Instead, it gives an order. Facebook doesn't run on one computer in one building. It runs on data centers spread across the planet. Oregon, Iowa, Sweden, Singapore. Those buildings need to talk to each other constantly, so Facebook built its own private network to connect them. Their own fiber, their own routers, that's the backbone. The command that got run was supposed to measure how much of that backbone was free. Because of the way it was written, what it actually did was tell every one of those connections to shut down. All of them, at once. Facebook had a safety system for exactly this, an audit tool that reviews commands before they execute and blocks the dangerous ones. The audit tool had a bug. It didn't catch it. So now every Facebook data center on Earth is cut off from every other Facebook data center on Earth. That's bad. That is not, by itself, catastrophic. The catastrophe is what happened 30 seconds later. To explain that, we need to talk about how the internet finds anything. The internet is not one network. It's about 70,000 separate networks that agreed to cooperate. Comcast is one, Verizon is one, your university is probably one, Facebook is one. Each of these is called an autonomous system, and each one gets a number. Facebook's is 32934. These networks don't have a master map of each other. There's no central directory. There's no one in charge. Instead, they gossip. Each network announces to the neighbors it's connected to, here's what I can reach. Those neighbors pass it along to their neighbors. Reach spreads outward, hop by hop, until every network on Earth knows roughly which direction to send traffic for any address. The protocol they use to do this is called BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. The first version of it was sketched out on 3 napkins over lunch in 1989. It works on trust. If Facebook says, I can reach Facebook, everyone believes Facebook, which is usually correct, because who else would be announcing that? And the other half of finding things is DNS. When you type facebook.com, your computer doesn't know what that means. It has to ask. The question travels to a resolver, and the resolver eventually asks Facebook's own name servers, the machines that hold the official answer for anything ending in facebook.com. Those name servers live inside Facebook's data centers, which is where this gets circular. Facebook's engineers had thought of a specific problem. If a name server gets cut off from the rest of Facebook, it's useless. It'll keep answering questions with addresses it can no longer confirm are good. It'll send users to a building it can't reach. So they gave the name servers a rule. Every one of them constantly checks whether it can still talk to the backbone. If the answer is no, if a name server finds itself isolated, it stops advertising itself over BGP. It takes itself off the map. Traffic gets routed to a healthy one instead. That is a good rule. That is careful engineering. Under normal conditions, it prevents a small failure from becoming a user-facing one. At 1539 UTC, the condition it was designed for happened to every name server simultaneously. Every one of them checked. Every one of them found nothing. Every one of them concluded correctly that it was unhealthy, and every one of them politely withdrew from the internet. Within minutes, routers across the world processed those withdrawals and updated their tables. Facebook's addresses stopped existing as a destination, not blocked, not returning errors, not slow, absent. The safety mechanism worked perfectly, and in working perfectly, it removed the company from the internet. 3.5 billion people noticed at roughly the same time. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, Oculus headsets, every third-party site with a login with Facebook button. Then the second wave hits, and this part catches almost everyone by surprise. When a phone can't reach a name server, it doesn't give up. It retries, then the app retries, then the operating system retries. Billions of devices, all quietly asking the same question over and over, all getting nothing. The flood lands on the DNS resolvers of the world, the public ones, the ones your ISP runs. Cloudflare measured something like 30 times their normal query volume for those domains, which meant that for a stretch of that afternoon, other websites that had nothing to do with Facebook got slower. The resolvers were busy. And because a domain with no routes and no name servers looks to some lookup tools like a domain nobody owns, a handful of registrar sites cheerfully reported that Facebook.com was available for purchase. It was not available for purchase. Inside Facebook, the situation is worse in a specific and very unpleasant way. The internal tools run on the same infrastructure. The chat system engineers used to coordinate incidents is a Facebook product. It's down. The internal dashboards are down. The remote access to the routers go over the backbone. The backbone is the thing that's broken. So the engineers who know exactly how to fix this cannot reach the equipment they need to fix. The answer is to send people to the buildings physically. And here they hit the part that turned a bad afternoon into a long one. Data centers are hardened. badge readers, man trapdoors, locked cages around the server racks. All of it is designed to keep out anyone who shouldn't be there. Those systems authenticate against the network. Reporting at the time described teams struggling to get physical access to the hardware, and engineers being dispatched to a facility in Santa Clara with the tools to cut their way into a server cage if it came to that. The people with the keys to the building were locked out of the building by the building. By late afternoon, engineers are physically on site and reconnecting the backbone piece by piece, which raises the next problem. They can't just flip everything on. Facebook's services had been sitting idle for hours. Caches were cold. Every one of those billions of devices was still retrying. The instant the doors opened, all of that traffic would arrive at once, against systems with nothing warmed up. Turn it all on together and the surge crashes the services again, possibly hard enough to take down power systems in the process. So they brought it back in stages, region by region, watching load, watching power draw, letting caches fill. At 2150 UTC, a little under 6 hours after the command ran, the routes came back. And 3.5 billion people went back to what they were doing. 6 hours offline cost Facebook somewhere in the range of $60 to $100 million in advertising revenue, depending on whose estimate you use. The stock closed down about 5%. Elsewhere, the effects were less about money. WhatsApp isn't a social app in most of the world. It's how people run small businesses, coordinate with family, contact doctors. In Brazil and India, it went quiet for an afternoon. Telegram picked up something like 70 million new users in a day. Facebook published the technical explanation within 2 days, which is faster and more detailed than most companies manage. Then, they went and fixed the specific things. The audit tool bug got fixed, so a command like this gets stopped before it runs. The name server's health check got changed, so they won't all withdraw at once. Losing the backbone no longer means removing yourself from the internet. And the process for getting physically into a data center during a total network failure got rewritten by people who had recently had a very memorable afternoon.